Hey everyone, with the witches in, and I'm going live for you guys here today. Talk about God, and I'm trust. If you guys give me 1 minute, I'm trying to see if I can get my comments to come up in them because I need to be able to see what you guys say. Um, don't know why it's not coming up. Normally it does show up. Um, so if you join in right now, make sure that you type something. Maybe it'll pop up on my screen. I'm not really able to see any comments popping up for me. But let's go ahead and get started. So the goddess is calling, which is working with goddess energy. So what does that look like for you to start working with some goddess energy? So this is a very difficult part. For a lot of times you'll feel the call, you'll feel the pull to say, yay, let's do this. Let's start working with this. And then I start, how does all of this work? So there's a couple of different ways. So first of all, if you goddess, and I can speak from experience because when I first started, I was very obsessed. ISIS, actually, that was my big obsession. You can start to reach that works for you. Keep in mind that just because you are obsessed with a goddess and you really love her, doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to be the right goddess for you to work with, right? Well, not real quickly. It took me 2 years to find out. Is that working with ISIS was just not connection. It just didn't feel right for me. So it's important to know that once you get started, connecting with the goddess that is right for you at that time. And that can mean that a lot of times goddesses may change over. One way to connect is start with a goddess that you are all about. And the second way to connect, if you are not, kind of like an easier way, because you can just reach out and say, hey, I'm looking to connect goddess for me, the right one. And how can I make that happen? So just kind of let's talk about the basics of goddess work, right? So keep in mind, goddess, we are working in partnership. And let me see if I can. Well, that didn't work. It kind of kicked me out. Sorry. Um, so anyway, back to what I was saying. A lot of times it's one of the things that you can do with when you start working with it. Let's talk about the basics of it. So the basics of it is that you would basically there's a couple of different components. The first step is establishing a relationship, and it's kind of like connecting, making a new friend, right? It's exactly like making a new friend. So you meet, and before you start asking them for things or vomiting your information all over them, you want to make sure that you establish a strong base for that friendship to be able to support everything that's going to happen within that friendship. So when you first get started, you may say, hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee, let's go watch a movie, let's go to dinner, let's just chat, all of that before you say, hey, come help me move this weekend, right? So those are the differences. So basically what you would say is you would start off with a small offering to open up that relationship. And so if you know the goddess that you are working with, you would do some lore research and find out what offerings are appropriate. More than likely, you're looking for herbal offers, or you're looking for foods, like the god or goddess's favorite foods, or if there's an object in particular that it works really, really well, that they are really all about, you can do that. Or a lot of times, if there's a food that they like, you can cook that for them and give them as an offering. So there's a lot of different ways to work with goddess energy in that way. So first step is you're going to create an offering if you know who the goddess is. If you don't know who the goddess is that you're trying to reach out, then your first step is going to be basically to light a candle. I would start with a white candle and send your request out to the universe and be honest with it. So I would light a white candle and I would say, I'm looking to connect with a deity. I'm looking to grow in my path, and I want to find a deity that will connect with me in a good way, that's going to help me to move forward to where I need to go. And so, how do I go about doing that? How do I go about connecting with a deity, and which deity is right for me? So, you put your request out there in the universe in the form of a candle. And then hopefully, you're going to start receiving messages and signs over the next few days. So if you don't know which goddess you want to work with, you can start with putting the message out and saying, doing the candle ceremony and putting the message out. And then I would wait about 5 to 7 days, and I would do a meditation. Like if you are a member of my meditation class, there's a Meet Your Goddess meditation in that class that you can try. And then once you do that, then you get a chance to go into meditation and see which goddess responded. Now, this is the tricky part, right? So once you go in and you see which goddess responded, they're not going to show up and say, hey, my name is so and so, here's my resume, this is what I'm here to help you with. You may see a figure. You may see a lot of times in the beginning, you may not be able to see the face. You may see just prominent features, like maybe the hair, or maybe a specific piece of jewelry, or the goddess will show up with an animal, or they'll hand you something that signifies to you who they are. So after you have your meditation, if somebody came to you, write down everything that you remember, no matter how minute. So if you say, well, this lady came in white and she had this, flowing robes, but I couldn't see anything else. You've got a lot of information in there, right? She was wearing white and she was wearing flowing robes. So what exactly are you going to be looking for? What type of deity and what type of goddess are you going to be looking for from that? And you can start your search from there. And then it's just the process of narrowing it down. So after a week, you do some research and you say, I wonder if it's one of these 3 goddesses. Do your Meet Your Goddess meditation again. Go in and say, hey, are you this goddess? Are you this goddess? Are you this goddess? They may say yes or no to any of those, or they may say nothing, but they may bring you another clue. So then you go in and you research that clue and you bring it back, and then you go in again and you say, hey, this is who I think it is. And if you get to a point where you're really not that close, you can say to the goddess that comes to meet you, hey, I'm not getting it. And I say that all the time, because they have to hit me upside the head for me to understand things. A lot of times I don't get subtlety very well. So you go in and say, hey, I'm not getting it. I would like to know who my goddess is. I would like to know who you are. Can you please give me a clue or a sign or something? And she may not give it to you in that particular session. So it may be you're going to go into that session, you're going to come out, you're not going to get anything, and you're going to say, well, that was pointless. But then pay attention over the next few days of symbols that come through your path. So if you see something that you normally don't see, so let's say you're sitting around and you go like all of a sudden like, oh my God, there's an owl right there. It's daytime. Why is there an owl out there? That's a symbol. Or if you're going somewhere and you start noticing that maybe a crow is following you, that's a symbol. Or you start going places and you start noticing that maybe everywhere you turn around, you see a deer, or maybe everywhere you turn around, you see different types of symbolism. That is all messages. Keep in mind that in the beginning, the messages you're going to receive, and it's actually not just in the beginning, it's throughout this entire process, throughout all of our relationships with spirit. They're not going to show up and say, hey, let me give you the lowdown on who I am. Here's a list. Let me give you all my information to make it easy for you. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So, and now I noticed that we have a lot of people join. And just as an FYI, guys, I am not able to see messages as of right now. So if you are typing a message, I am not able to see it. So just as an FYI, I'm going to play around with this after I log off today, because once again, I'm on a new platform, and I know that there's a way to see messages. It's just not happening for me. But anyway, going back to what I was saying. So once you finally narrow it down to which goddess it is and you know exactly who it is, then you're going to create a little ceremonial altar to begin that relationship. And one of the things I normally like to put in that altar is I'll put a white cloth. And if you know that there is a specific object that goddess likes or is all about, you can put that object down. So for example, I work with Hecate. So for me, Hecate is always about keys, right? This is the symbolism that is strongest with me, keys and black dogs. Now, she's got a lot of other symbolism that goes with her. For me, the ones that I relate with every single time I see her I see her keys, and I see the black dogs with her. I know she also has a symbolism of a snake sometimes. I have never seen a snake with her, which tells me that that is not my way of connecting with her, right? My way of connecting with her is through keys, and it's connecting through dog symbolism. So select a symbol, put a symbol on your little altar. You may want to have a little goddess statue. So I like little generic statues like this are really great for when you're first starting out, because this is kind of going to be, it can be a stand-in for any goddess. If you don't have anything like that, the next best thing is to get an oracle deck that is all about goddesses. So this one here that I'm looking at is the Goddess Guidance Oracle. I have a lot of other ones, but a lot of them are out of print, and some of them are made by independent artists, and I don't know that they're printing them right now. So I wanted to show you guys one that's really easy to use, and that basically you can still get it. So let's say you get one of these and you're looking, let me find out a good goddess. Okay, so this one is Ishtar. So you would take one of the cards. So this is the card here for Ishtar. I need to put some blinds over there because this is very bright. This is one of the cards for Ishtar. And then so you would be able to use this, put this on your altar like this as a symbol. If you don't have a goddess statue, you can use the card as a symbol as to who it is that you are connecting with. And this applies also to male deities. So it's not just female deities. So put it on there. You're going to light a white candle. And generally, I like to make this either a chime candle or a white votive candle. Now, keep in mind that candle is going to have to burn all the way down. So I personally, when I'm first initiating a relationship with a deity, I like to offer a votive candle. And the reason for that is because it's going to burn a little bit longer than a regular chime candle. And normally I'm going to let it burn overnight, which kind of shows my willingness to kind of start working with them, right? So the way that I measure a lot of things when I work with deities and when I work with spirits is, and this comes from my grandfather. He was a spiritualist in the 60s, and this is kind of something that he taught me since I was a child, which is think about how much light you want to be offering. So if you offer a chime candle, you're offering basically 4, maybe 5 hours of light, right? So if you're offering a votive candle, you're probably going to be offering 15 hours of light. So to open a relationship, for me, a votive candle is what works. Now, don't go overboard. You can do a 7-day candle if you want to, and that's going to be many, many hours of light. But I save 7-day candles for when I have real specific and special petitions. I don't normally offer those in the beginning of a relationship because you don't know what's going to happen, right? And really keep in mind, this is truly a relationship. So it's going to be a back and forth between you and deity and you and deity. So as you know, in paganism, we walk with our gods. We don't worship them in that sense. And it's important to change that mentality that we have of saying, you know, hey, I'm here to worship you. I need to do all these things for you. No, it's a partnership. So you basically say, this is what I want help with. And then in exchange, you say, this is what I'm offering you as a thank you, basically. That's how it works. And it's just like a relationship. So the same thing, if you have a friend, a really good friend, you're not going to worship them. You can, but that would be creepy. And after a while, I think you probably wouldn't have that friend anymore. But when you have a friend that you're just starting out with, you can turn around and you can say, okay, you know, hey, would you come help me do this? Or you can say, hey, I'm going to buy you dinner and give you gas money if you come and help me move, or whatever it is that you're asking for. That is the time to use the big gun candle. But just in the beginning, when you're first meeting them, something, you know, small, like a votive candle. So it's like, you know, brand new person invited you to their house and you're going to bring a bottle of wine, or you're going to bring some flowers, or you're going to bring something for the hostess to show that you're appreciative of them inviting you, of connecting with them in that way. So for me, that is the votive candle. So I light a white votive candle. I anoint it with an oil. You can choose which oil you want. I tend to anoint it with the oil of the deity that I'm trying to connect with. If I don't have that oil yet and I don't want to buy it because I don't know if this is going to be a long-term thing or not, then go look and see what her favorite scents and flowers are, and then anoint the candle with those scents, right? You're going to light incense on the altar as well. Same thing, following those scents that she's all about. So you're going to have your white altar cloth. You're going to have either your goddess statue, or you're going to have your goddess card to represent the goddess and to give a focal point to your altar. And you're going to have your incense, which is part of your offering, and your little votive candle, which is anointed with the appropriate oil. And then so you're going to light it, you're going to sit in front of it, and you're going to say, I am here extending friendship. I would like to work with you. I would like to know if you are the right goddess to work with me. And so I am opening up channels of communication. So you make all that offering, and then you wait the next week or so and see if you receive any messages. Messages can come in dreams, can come in your surroundings. It can come in many, many different ways. And you may receive a confirmation back of, hey, yes, I'm going to work with you. You may see animals, their favorite animals showing up, or you may start everywhere you go, their favorite flowers popping up at you. So it's really a matter of being very aware of the omens in the world around you, right? They're not going to appear right in front of you and say, hello, my name is so-and-so. I got your message and I'm here to talk to you. The messages are going to come in very subtle ways, and they're going to come through different omens. So it's important to make sure that you're paying attention to those. So if a week goes by and you have not seen anything, or you didn't really pay attention on the things you may have seen, you can do another Meet Your Goddess meditation. Go back in and say, did you get my message? Did you get my offering? Are we good? Are you the right goddess to work with me? And see what they say when they come to you. And that's basically the process of building that relationship, right? What I do, because I know my deities are with me throughout the day, every single day. And I call on them all the time whenever I need something. So if I'm having like a really crappy day and I'm like, I'm going to beat somebody up today, and I can call in and say, Hecate, keep me from beating up people. Every day she's helping me. She's working with me through my day. And so every month I will give her an offering of some kind. And the offering can be another candle. It can be her favorite incense. It can be something that she really likes. It can be anything like that. So just as an offering to say, thank you for walking with me in my daily path, and to maintain the friendship going forward. So that's how basically you start to work with goddess energy. Now, it's important to note that these goddesses are going to come in and out at different times with specific messages based on what it is that you needed, right? So, for example, my primary deity is Hecate. That's who I work with. My secondary deity that I work with a lot as well is Frigga. She came to me about 2 years ago. Hecate's been with me since I was a child. But Frigga has come to me about 2 years ago. And the biggest sign for me that was very interesting, that she was really meant to be here for a while, is that with Hecate, normally every time I've tried to bring in a second goddess, she's not been happy about that. It's not worked out very well. So she will allow a lot of times goddesses to come in and provide messages, and then they leave, right? She's never really wanted another goddess basically sitting on my altar. But when it came to Frigga, she says, yes, I would love to have her on my side. So even though they're two separate pantheons and they're different types of goddesses all around, other than the fact that they both rule over magic, that's really the only connection. And they both rule over opening doorways and opening pathways. Those things are very connected for them. Hecate was like, yeah, you can add her. So for me, that was a very big sign that Frigga was there to stay. So outside of that, you may have different goddesses that will come to you at different times. So for example, when I'm stagnating in life and I'm not sure exactly where I need to go, or sometimes I know where I need to go and I know what I need to do, but I'm just not doing it. I'm just sitting here, biding my time because either I don't want to do it or I'm scared of it or anything like that. The goddess that will come to me at that time, basically to tell me to get my butt in gear, is Kali. She comes in her very scary form, and she basically says to me, either you get going or I'm going to get going on your behalf. And trust me, you don't want Kali to get going on your behalf. So at that point, I get going. I also have a lot of times Hera will come to me, generally with messages regarding how out of balance I am. If I feel that I'm not in balance, Hera will come to me. She's come to me multiple times in the past, and actually recently, over the last month, she's come to me again to tell me about things I needed to work on. So just because you work with a particular deity, it doesn't mean that you can't work with other deities at the same time, or it doesn't mean that other deities won't approach you for a message. Now, it's important to know that not every single deity that approaches you is going to be part of the gods and goddesses that you work with all the time. Sometimes they just show up to deliver a message or to deliver a lesson or to get you to notice something that you may not be paying attention to. It doesn't mean that they're there to stay. So a lot of times it's important to jump into that relationship very cautiously, because if you get if I had gotten one message from Hera and decided this is it, she's one of my new goddesses, added her in, and she's not meant for that. So every time a new goddess shows up for me, I work very cautiously with that energy to make sure that I'm truly understanding what the signs are. So Frigga is the one that came to me 4 years ago. And so I worked with her for a whole year, very cautiously, to find out and understand, is she really here to stay, or is she just a messenger for me? And so that is something that you can do as well when you start working in that direction. The other thing that I like to have, I put once you find out who your goddess is, you're just going to be adding her to your altar as part of your everyday practice. I would highly recommend not creating a separate altar for that deity until you know for sure that this is going to be here to stay. And the reason for that is there's rules in creating and honoring altar for a deity, and there's rules in maintaining that altar, and there are rules in taking that altar down. So unless you understand what's involved in that, my advice to you is not doing that. Just bring her into your space as kind of a reminder and a recognition. So that is basically how you begin working with deities. I also wanted to show you guys, if I can, some of the things that I use when I work with deities. Let me show you from my altar here. So this here is my Hecate jar. So I put this is a jar for me that is, every time I see something that reminds me of Hecate, I put it in here. So I have keys in here. I have symbols. I have a lot of Hecate wheels. I have some Hecate pendants. All of these things that I find, this is like her little jar. And it makes me think of her. And so I get it for her. And then that month that I get it, that's my offering. I just put it in here and it's hers, right? So this sits next to her statue on my altar. And then if I come to a point where I say, I really need guidance right now. I'm struggling and I need help and I need you to walk really close to me. Can I borrow one of your items? And you listen for the response. And for me, the response has always been yes. I shouldn't say that. I had one exception to that. One exception that she said, no, you need to figure this out for yourself, which, okay. So you need to always ask. So let's say I decide I'm going to, and she says yes, then I'll go in here and I'll pull a key from her. And I normally close my eyes to pull it. So I let my intuition pull the one that needs to work with me. And then I carry this with me until it's done. Once it's done, I'm going to cleanse it and smudge it from my energy because it's hers. It's like cleaning something before you're returning it to your friend after you borrowed it. Clean it. When I return it in a gratitude ceremony, which I say thank you, I normally will burn some of her favorite incense. I will offer her a candle, generally not a votive and not a chime. At that point, I will offer her a tea light because it's basically just to return something. And I'm returning her key. I put it back in here and I give my gratitude once I do that. Now, this is just something that I do. It's not something that you need to do. And it can be many different things. I have the same one for Anubis on the other side of my altar because I also work with him. And in his jar, there's mainly like little scarabs. There's a few ankhs and there's a boatload of crystals, right? Anubis loves crystals. So putting crystals in there for him are one of the things that connects us. Hecate is not big on crystals. She doesn't want a lot of them. I got 2 crystals for her at one point, 2 moonstones. She said no. And then I received a little half moon in one of my monthly boxes. And the minute I received that, the minute I touched it, I got a message. That's mine. So I knew she wanted that. So when it came to my offering time that month, I had that and I gave it to her and I said, here you go. So it's important to make sure that you don't over offer, and it's important to make sure you don't under offer. So the relationship needs to be maintained on an even keel. Because think about it, if you are that friend who is always constantly asking for something but not giving back when needed, eventually people are going to stop helping you. And if you are that friend who is constantly doing things for people and not asking anything in return and just constantly offering your services in a very codependent way, after a while, people are going to be creeped out and say, dude, I can handle my own problems. You need to kind of back off a little bit. So it's all about balance. It's all about walking in balance between you and the deity that you're currently working with at that particular time. So that's all I have for deities today. I hope that this was helpful. I promise that next time I'm going to make sure that I can have comments up. And guys, I'm still all new to a lot of this technology, and the only reason why I switched different ones is because the new one that I switched to allows me a different way of connecting in and being able to see comments and maybe even posting to Instagram. So that's why I switched it. But it's causing me problems. I may go back to the other one. Also, reminder for all of you, tomorrow we have our live sale, which is going to take place. Hopefully it'll be live on Instagram as well. I'm hoping, but it's going to take place tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. We're going to have a lot of items that are goddess inspired, a lot of different ways that you can connect with goddess energies, a lot of different crystals that are favorite crystals of different goddesses. So we're going to have a lot of that. And then don't forget also tomorrow night, our card ceremony from last week was actually bumped to tomorrow night. I had a conflict last week, so it's going to take place tomorrow night. And I would love for you to join us. You can sign up for that at the Wild Academy at wildcommunity.com. There'll be a list of everything you need to have. Please make sure you sign up ahead of time so you can have all of the supplies you need, because the way we do our ceremonies is you are going to be following along with us and creating your own ceremony in your home. So you need to have all of the tools and the supplies for the ceremony so that you can also participate in its fullest. So that's all I have. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you again next Monday at the next Witches Inn. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.